everyone, and welcome to a new video on the channel. Today we are wrapping up the month of January in my reading journals, and it's a little bit chaotic. Some of my planning didn't go very well, but we'll get into that when it happens. I am really excited to be in my brand new journal and doing all the trackers that I spent so long setting up. It's been really fun filling them in, seeing what's already working really well in comparison to previous years. And this one's really fun because I scattered all the numbers over my bookshelfie, so the colors would be all over the place. But it does mean sometimes that I am stuck trying to find the number and it's right in front of me. I read a total of 15 books in January, and I think my favorite read of the year, or one of them, is already been read, but I will talk about that a little bit later. We're now moving on to the first tracker challenges. I did do a little bit of changing up in how things laid in this journal. If you watched me set it up, you would know that. But I did put Read the Rainbow right on this page here because normally I have a bookshelf next to my Days Read Pixel, but I did not need it since I did the tip in. So I had to be creative and add this here. And I really like it here. It's a nice way to start out the challenges. Now, unfortunately for me, I did print out some of these covers in the wrong size. That's one of the mistakes I made. I'm going to have to fix that at a later date. I do not come back in this video and do it. But essentially the 5 that are sitting on the desk right now, along with 2 others, were too big for the A to Z challenge. So that is coming up soon. I just thought I'd mention that now while we're sticking these down. But I was able to complete 4 books on the Read the Rainbow challenge already, which was very exciting. I could have done 5. I could have done Red as well. But since I had a reread for Red, it was Tales of a Monstrous Heart by Jennifer Delaney. I figured I might leave that until I move on into 2026 content. And if I don't read a new book with a red cover over 2026, I'll just use my reread. But we're now quickly already onto the Days Read Pixel. I have zoomed in for you, and I've also added a color key because I know this was confusing to some people last year. So I hope it's a little bit easier to see. But essentially, I have 2 pixel charts here. On the left-hand side, I fill it in. Every single box gets filled in, depending on what I read or don't read that day. And depending on how many books I read, I color it accordingly. And on the right-hand side, it'll be a lot spottier because I only color it in when I've finished a book. And the majority will be in yellow, which represents 1 book, just because I tend to finish only 1 book a day. There may be like significant amount of days in a row where I finish books. As you can see, there was about 6 days where I finished books back to back to back. However, that's not always the case, and it'll be really interesting to see how those trends follow out through the rest of the year. So we are now done filling that in. I really love this page, and I'm excited to see how it looks in the next few months. Unfortunately, like I mentioned, the stickers were too big for the A to Z challenge, so I'll come back to that at a later date, and we'll move on into other pages in here. There are a couple of pages coming up that I'll just flip right through. That's because the information on them is already filled in as I go. And if you want to see that being done, I tend to use reels for that format when I'm filling it in during the month, and I might add them onto shorts at some point very soon too. We've now got the monthly theme and book club reads. And for the month of January, we had the second book by Jennifer Delaney, Tales of a Deadly Devotion. And whilst I really loved my reread again of book 1, I gave it 5 stars again. Unfortunately, this one just fell into the second book syndrome. There were a couple of issues that I just couldn't look past, so I did give it 4 stars. But it's still a really great series, and I cannot wait for book 3 later this year. On the monthly theme side, we have a space for me to just sort of map out the theme, as it is very explanatory, and I'm just cutting out some stickers here from my leftover stickers for January, and it was from the book Funny Story by Emily Henry, and I did a farmer's market, lavender, and like a wine type theme because they were all present in the book. This won't be the case in every single month. It will probably be more focused to just one thing, like I have done with February, which is a bakery theme. But I really felt like this was a good way to start the year out, and I really like how this new segment new layout for this segment in my journal works for me, because I do enjoy having the color code for the main colors that I've used over that month right there. And also just the little bit of collage and layering here was really fun. So just adding on my top read for January. Like I mentioned, I had 15 reads in January, and one of my favorite books of the year, I know it's going to be there at the very end of the year, is Agnes Allbert's Mystical Cat Shelter by Heather Fawcett. And if you guys have been around long enough on this channel, you would know that Heather Fawcett is one of my favorite authors. Emily Henry series. Sorry, not Emily Henry. Wow, Emily Wilde. I think it's because I said Emily Henry before for the theme. Emily Wilde is my absolute favorite series, and I was so excited to get the ARC for her upcoming book. It comes out on the 17th of February, and I absolutely loved it. If you love Howl's Moving Castle, you have to read this book. It was so good. I will not give away spoilers yet, because obviously it's not out on the market yet, but it was absolutely fantastic. I actually was at one point thinking, wow, do I love this more than Emily Wilde? But no, I think I still love Emily Wilde just as much, if not more. But Havelock and Agnes were absolutely amazing. The cats were so cool, and I'm not even a cat person, but I loved the cats so much. And I definitely think that if you enjoy cozy reads, but also with a little bit of action and a little bit of darkness, I will say there is a bit of a dark theme happening around people being hurt by magic, then definitely give this a read, or at least add it to your TBR. So here are the books that I read over January. I really like this new books read page. I did only have 12 on here initially, but when I started reading over, I was like, how am I going to make this page work? So now I have to set it up for 16 books per month and hope that I don't go over that anymore. But for the most, I did have good reads. I had 6 4-star reads, so that was really good. I did unfortunately have a 2.5 star and a couple of 3s, but overall, a really good month of reading. And here is the monthly view. I've just got to add on Agnes here, and then we can move on. I really enjoy this layout for my monthly view. I used it exactly the same at the end of 2025, and I just thought I'm going to keep it the same and bring it over as I have here. I'm not sure about how I am tracking the books on the side there with the colors, and then I accidentally did dots. I'm not sure why I started doing that, but it happened. So I will hopefully not do that again, but yeah, it's working. I just need to do a little bit more changes to how I'm tracking that there. And here is the first lines page. It's really frustrating when you read 15 books, but they all have really short first lines. So this page ended up looking a little bit bare. I may come through and add some more on there. I might add a quote from Funny Story down there. I'll think about it, because there is a couple of things I still need to do to the January pages before they're complete. On the TBR, I didn't successfully finish 3 books, which was a little bit frustrating, but I'm still happy with how many I did get done off the TBR. And I didn't buy a single book in January because I'm actually on a book buying ban. So I decided to turn this into an unhaul section, and I unhauled 16 books over January, which was good. I've still got a few more to unhaul, and I'm really happy with the fact that I have some extra space on my shelves now. On to the reading log now, because the other information had already been filled in, and we get to put these tiny little covers on here. Normally I do this size and put it in a collage in my January stats section in my reading data journal, but I have scrapped that this year just because I felt like if I printed out 3 times worth of covers for the same month, it might feel a little bit overdone. So this was new to me, this layout, and you can't really tell unless you're really looking up close, but I messed this up so badly. On the right hand side, you can see that I have a lot of stickers over underneath the headers, because I was writing the headers where the book covers have to go, and I did it over and over and over until I was on the next page and then went, hang on a minute, that doesn't work. So yeah, I had to do so much editing. Also, I accidentally missed a book. So book 8 is not written in the stars, it's Buckle Up Buttercup. So I just put that in at book 10 spot, but if you look at the teeny tiny numbers, it actually says 008 on Buckle Up Buttercup. And otherwise, things majority on this page are the same, just a different layout. So I'm tracking all the same information because I find it useful. However, I did make new stickers for this layout. I'm doing my star ratings with the 5-star stickers, and then I also have my typical format stickers, and I also added some ARC stickers, and I really like the art stickers, but I can't find the other sheet of them, so I had to turn some of the ALC ones into ARC, and I'll have to print some more out. But the other issue I found is that my stickers that I made for format are slightly too big for the space. So I'm at a point where I'm like, do I continue to use them even though they're going over the lines a little bit, or should I make them smaller? I'm not sure, but it's just teething issues. I did test them in another journal, but perhaps I wasn't testing correctly. I'm not sure. But it's such a minor issue that I think if I did continue on with them, it wouldn't bother me too much. But we'll see. Also, I put this one here and then put the format sticker down and then realized that I wanted it the other way around. So you live and you learn. As you can see, I'm like, it doesn't fit there. It's just going over the line ever so slightly. And you can see here I have changed where the page on the second hand line has moved. On the flip over, it's over further because I did find that I was struggling to write my series names into the space that I had on this page. So that has definitely been moved, but I'm wondering if I should move the stickers along so then they are up against there, or perhaps I could use the space where the numbers are. Please let me know what you think would be the best idea for those format stickers, because ideally I would like to keep using them, but yeah, I think they could fit right between the two numbers on the right hand side. So where it has the teeny tiny number up the top and then the number for the book per month, I think they would fit there quite nicely. That would probably be something I should try in February, but if you have any ideas, let me know in the comments. As you can see, it didn't really work if I did my mixed read sticker layout too, so we'll see how we go with that. But for the majority of my reads, I did read audiobooks. Like I mentioned, I'm listening to audiobooks much faster now, so I get through them really quickly, and I was just in a good mood. Libby was really helpful and generous with coming through with all my holds, so I was just flipping through books really fast. I also had 6 arcs, which was really good, and I didn't do very well with other challenges. Like I wanted to do a Kindle takedown and read one book from my Kindle every month that was on my backlist, and I haven't done that. So I've already failed one of my 2026 goals, but that's fine because if I can catch up, I'll just see it as a win that way. We're in the reading data journal now. We're in the global section, which will cover multiple years, and we're in the series tracker right now. And I'm trying to find out why I hadn't written down Ellie Hazelwood's Bride series. I knew it was going to be a series, so I'm not sure why it was not on the list, but I just added it here. And I've also changed the pen for 2026 because I am finding it really challenging to use the Furunosuke pen that I was writing the headers in with. So I have changed that, but otherwise everything will be the same. Again, on the screen right now, you can see the series tracker key. Purple's the colour for 2026. It looks really weird up against all the academia type colours that I used previously, but it is what it is. So we'll just work with that. I added, I think, 2 series along with Bride, which should have already been on the tracker this month, which was not too bad. Or was it just the one? I can't quite remember. And I was also very happy that I am looking at my backlist and working on ones that I need to finish, such as I'm working on Castles Ever After by Tessa Dare, which came in handy because I'm doing a readathon this month that is for, over January was for historical reads, so that worked out really well for me. And hopefully I will continue to just look at my series that I've still got left over to finish them off, because it would be really nice to meet that goal this year of finishing, I think it's 26 series. Here we are on the goals page and in the 2026 portion of this journal, and as you can see, I had to put a 0 down for reading at least one book from my Kindle backlog. I have kept above my NetGalley percentage, and I've read a new author, which was Jessie Silver, and the book was How to Lose a Goblin in 10 Days, and it's another cozy read. I did find this one to be a little bit, it's just some points that made me go, oh, this isn't a book for me as much as I would like it to be, so I did give it 3.5 stars. Speaking of ratings, we're now adding ratings to the new tracker system. I really like this, and it's very easy to fill in as opposed to trying to do individual books like I was for the page by, books by pages that I had for 2025. So we're flipping through these quite quickly now, and all the stats are tallied up on the next page. I really, really like this layout more than what I've tried previously. It's a very quick way to see what you read and how you read quite well, with how easily these little boxes get filled in. And I am really excited to use these over the year of 2026. This is looking really exciting to me. I had a bit of a mistake here. I was going down vertically instead of horizontally. I mentioned in my flip through videos that I wanted to do colors per month to sort of see if that would help even out some of the changes in my handwriting, because I did notice that using the same pen but per month, sometimes my handwriting would change a little bit. Sometimes I slant the book too far. Sometimes I write very upright. I am a Gemini and I do end up changing my handwriting a little bit, but I want to be very consistent with this one. So I thought that if I added color to the backdrops of each box, it would train the eye to not look at the numbers and see how they change per month. But overall, I really like the little drop shadow behind the numbers. And as always, I really love my yearly stats page. So this is me just adding those quick stats on, but we do a January stats page in this setup, or in this wrap up, sorry. So I will talk about those stats when we get there. But it looks really cute with the yellow now. Onto this next page here, we've got the rereads and DNF section. I didn't DNF a book over January, but I did reread a book, so I added that onto that side there. And then this is new to me. This is the social stats. I'm tracking this for myself, and I am happy with how this page is working out. I did have to do a little bit of digging because I forgot to write down the numbers that I started on at the start of the year, which was a bit frustrating, but it was easy enough to figure out. So that's that done, and we're going to move on to the next page, which is my library savings. You cannot see the header of because I'm too zoomed in, but I did really well. I used the library for 6 books and I saved $104. And then on this side here, we're just going to do the ARCs page, or the ARC station that I loved from last year. I really loved it that I brought it back exactly the same for this year. And as I mentioned before, I did have a percentage above 90 for January. So very excited to have my NetGalley percentage that high going into the new year. And we're going to flip over to a blank page and start setting up for January. Now, I'm not sure if I'm happy with this. I wanted to change this page up because it looked really boring last year, and some of the changes I have made I'm happy with. However, I wish I hadn't stamped the header. I wanted to use the header because these stamps because I had used them for all the other headers in 2026, so it made sense. But it's just really wonky. So I think from Q2, I'm going to probably start printing out the headers on some washi tape paper. I'm not sure if I should change it for February because it will kind of annoy me if the first quarter is not the same. So we'll stick with it for this time for the next 3 months, and then change it from, when's the next quarter? April onwards. Other than that, the header is fine. It felt, I don't know, I'm just being nitpicky about it, I think. I really wanted this page to look so different, and it kind of doesn't. And I think that's what the problem is. That's why I'm being nitpicky about it. So I didn't put January stats. I just put January. I'm going to do that for all the months going forward. And I'm just going to write Q1 or so forth for other pages that I normally do in between my monthly stats. I think where the issue has come in is that I've still done the same sort of format for the segment titles. I think I'm going to use the washi tape, like I mentioned, to not only print out the headers, but also print out the titles for these sections, just because I feel like the underline and then just writing on top is not doing very well for me anymore. I'm not a huge fan of it. So we'll see if that makes me happier to change that up when we get to it. However, the information is still very valid, and I'm really happy overall how this page gives over information, and I sense that I shouldn't be so worried about how it looks and how it actually offers me information. So for the core stats section, I've just kept basically the same stuff and tracking that way. I mentioned earlier on that I did read 15 books, and that came to 6,241 pages read with an average of 3.9, which was very good. As I mentioned before, the audiobooks were quite a lot, so there was 35 hours of audiobooks, and I did 6 arcs, no DNFs, used the library for 6 books. I read 11 books in part of a series and 4 books were standalones. I had 2 buddy reads. I had 1 book club read. I took away readathons off this list because I'm doing quite a few year-long ones, and I didn't want to track them here anymore. But I did put on hold and unhold, and I successfully didn't buy a book in January, and I unhold 16. As for star ratings and for the following way of sharing information, I am going to be doing pie charts. I thought that would look more visually interesting. Unfortunately, I did have a technical issue at this point and ran out of room on my camera for information and also for filming. And so I went to go put it onto my computer, and then that said it didn't have enough room. So it took me quite some time. So while I was waiting for that to all work and get everything off the camera, I just went ahead and continued making pie charts and filling in information off camera. So I do apologize that this last portion here is a little bit sped up. But for star ratings, like I mentioned, I have 5 stars. For 5 stars, I had 2 5-star reads. I had 2 4.5 stars, 6 4 stars. I had 2 3.5, 2 3 stars, and 1 2.5. And then as you can see, this is where I have a big jump because I just keep filling in information. So the next pie chart we're working on is format, and I had 0 physical books, 6 ebooks, 8 audiobooks, and 1 mixed. I read a total of 13 adult books and 2 young adult books. For audience and for genres, I had 4 romantasy, 4 fantasy, 5 romance, 1 historical read or historical romance, and 1 paranormal read. So I really like how this has all come together now. It's a little bit more visually appealing. And then I'm also going to add on my favorite read of the month and my least liked book each month. I think this will fill in the gap here without having to have a collage of every single book that I read within the month of January. So my favorite read was, as I mentioned earlier on, Agnes Albert's Mystical Cat Shelter by Heather Fawcett, and I didn't enjoy A Heart So Green by Lyra Celine, which is a shame because I loved book 1 in that series so much, and I thought book 2 was just maybe second book syndrome problems, but unfortunately I think it should have just stayed as a standalone. We are now in my Gamifying reading journal, and I'm just going to do a very quick update in here because we're just going to add some stickers basically at this point. I did technically finish Buzzword for both cover and title prompts, but I feel like they are so just on the edge of filling it in that I would like to see if I could get better prompts out the year. Sometimes I don't fill them in the month they're due and just fill them in as I go. So we'll just see how that one goes. I did do easy reading. I did do Year of Goober though. They were all filled in. And now we're working on Map of Stories. And I did have a third book that I could add here, but I forgot to print it out, which was Agnes Orbits, because it is a historical. It's set in the 1920s in Montreal. So that is Old Growth Forest done for January, and I'm now in Maple Tree Township, which was all about romance. So that will be very easy to fill in over the month of February. I do tend to pick up a bit more romance novels around this time of the year just because of Valentine's, and it just seems to be the nature of releases and such of being romances around this time of the year. Unfortunately for me, I have failed 75 booked and tracking it. Whilst I've started the book ban, it does not work with my chronic fatigue, and so I don't want to keep myself in a box worrying about how it's going to work out for me. I did try to fill in the Q1 cover bingo that I've got here, but then I made a mistake and then I got frustrated, so I thought, you know what, I'm going to just change this at a later date. But that is this one all filled in, and we'll now go in to the final flip through. I am sorry that this video was a little bit chaotic and all over the place. It's teething issues. Whilst I've been doing this for a few years now, this is all changed a little bit for me. So we'll just get through it very casually, and hopefully in February things will go a lot more smoother when I do my wrap up. But that is the reading data journal all wrapped up, and we're now going to go back into my main journal for 2026, and we'll go into January and we will do a final flip through there. Like I mentioned, I do have a couple of details that I have to add on. I want to fill in the space on the first lines page, and then also fill in the quotes that I enjoyed that I'm going to put on the right hand side of the reading log on the second page because it's blank. But until we next meet, I hope you have fun reading or journaling, and I will see you in a new video, hopefully very, very soon. And again, thank you so much for watching this little chaotic video of mine. Bye everyone.